We want to start off by thanking all of you for joining us tonight to celebrate our mother's life and to begin the work of the Peggy Memorial Foundation. There are no words to express the depth of our loss. There is no metaphor or analogy that captures the magnitude of grief that has been felt by hundreds of people. Our mother was the light of our lives. She was strong, beautiful, compassionate, brave, and as you all probably know, very, very funny. Her humor is the greatest gift she gave to us. Both Liam and I inherited that prize, and it has helped us through what has been truly the worst time in our lives. Many of you are still struggling to comprehend our mother's death. How does such a tough and vibrant woman die so suddenly? We lived through it and we can scarcely comprehend it. Part of the Foundation's mission is to use our mother's story to educate the public. That educational work starts tonight. To help those of you who loved her or who didn't know her very well understand what happened to Mom and what really can happen to almost anybody, Liam is going to share with you the last week of our mother's life.
Hi everybody, thank you for coming tonight. All the donations and all the people who are here tonight just show you what a great woman our mother was. As Chris said, to help you understand how our mother died, I'm going to show you how fast this can and did happen. On Tuesday, April 13th, my mom had a root canal, and the dentist prescribed her an antibiotic, clindamycin, to treat an abscess. The next day, she felt fine. On Thursday, Mom came home from work and said she didn't feel well. Thinking she caught a bug from one of her students, she still went to her class at Toro that night. The following day, my mom stayed home from work, which is something she almost never did. She ended up in bed all weekend with what she thought was a stomach virus. On Saturday, she talked to her doctor by phone. He prescribed by phone a prescription-strength anti-diarrhea medicine and told her she should go see a GI doctor on Monday. She began taking the medication later that day. We came to find out later that an anti-diarrhea medicine is one of the worst things you can take when you have C. diff. That Saturday, my fiance Melissa's grandfather suddenly passed away. My mom told me to go take care of Melissa. We continued to check in on Mom, as did Chris by phone. Bringing her soup, tea, and other liquids, she still had difficulty keeping anything down and seemed to be getting worse. Word that she had been sick for several days. On Monday, Chris spoke to Mom. They agreed he would take her to the doctor the next day. On Tuesday, April 20th, my brother came over to take my mom to her doctor's appointment. But she was very pale, somewhat weak and dizzy. Worried about dehydration, we decided that she should be taken to the hospital instead. We called 911. The medics arrived to take her to the hospital and discovered that despite her still being up, walking and talking, her blood pressure was dangerously low. This is the first sign that something is seriously wrong. Chris called me at the wake and told me to come to the hospital. Upon arrival at the hospital, the emergency room physician had determined that my mom had a massive infection, later determined to be caused by Clostridium difficile, which was brought on by antibiotic use. Despite being lucid and telling us she's fine, Mom is in septic shock. They begin fluid antibiotic therapy. Chris and I called our family to tell them that Mom is really sick. Because she was in shock, the doctor said she was unable to make her own medical decisions. So we decided that Chris would, with me and our Aunt Helen, who was a nurse. The doctor started a central line for fluids and antibiotics, performed additional blood tests, and scheduled my mom for a CT scan. They also performed a colonoscopy to determine if she had an obstruction. She was sedated and intubated to make sure her airway wasn't compromised during her procedures. The doctors continued treating my mom with IV antibiotics and other drugs. and told us that if she didn't respond by morning, we would have to do surgery to remove a colon in an attempt to save her life. It was at this point that we realized that what we initially thought was the flu only 4 days ago would ultimately cost my mother her life. We were told to go home and get some rest, that the doctor would call us if surgery was necessary. Of course, we stayed as long as we could, surrounded by Mom's brothers and sisters, our cousins, close friends, even some of mine and Chris's friends. Eventually, we went back to our house to sleep and pray. At 6 a.m. the next morning, the doctor called Chris and told us to get to the hospital. My mom had not improved overnight, and surgery was necessary. The doctors told us she was so ill, he was afraid she would not survive the surgery, that she would very likely die from sepsis without it. We consented to the surgery, which Mom survived. From late morning until the afternoon, it seemed that she was improving, but around 4 p.m., her vital signs started to deteriorate. The doctors put her on 100% oxygen and provided additional drugs to support her blood pressure. She continued to decline throughout the afternoon. And at 7:20, the ICU doctor told us she passed away. She had gone into cardiac arrest. They had tried to revive her several times to no avail. That was when my life and the life of my family changed forever. Now the day goes by, I do not think something could have been done to prevent her illness or save her life. If we and other people had known about C. diff and the serious infection certain antibiotics could set off, we might have recognized the signs and gotten her help sooner. Hopefully by what we start here tonight, all of us, other families will not have to go through this. Thank you everybody for your support.